All right, we're about to dive into a powerful learning secret that's kind of hiding in plain sight. And no, it's not some new app or a fancy algorithm. It's something surprisingly analog that could totally change how you learn.
I mean, just think about it, right? We have all these learning apps in our pockets, endless tutorial videos for literally anything on YouTube. So why aren't we all experts by now? It's this strange paradox, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this explainer.
And this quote, it comes from a pretty surprising source, a teacher who was a huge believer in technology. He really thought digital tools were the magic bullet, the ultimate answer for learning, but his own experience proved him completely wrong. And what he discovered is really fascinating.
So that brings us right to this idea of the digital learning paradox. We're going to dig into this disconnect, between the promise of all these amazing digital resources and the frustrating reality that a lot of us face when we're trying to learn something new.
And here it is, the core idea. What if the solution isn't about finding a better app or a faster computer? What if it's actually less tech? I know, it sounds a little counterintuitive, but the evidence we're about to see suggests that dialing back some of that digital noise might just be the key to unlocking real, lasting knowledge.
Okay, so let's explore the solution, what we're calling the repetition engine. Now, we're looking at a method here that seems almost too simple. It's an old-school drill for sure, but its effect on your brain is incredibly powerful.
Here's how it works, and it really is this simple. You take a basic sentence and you just keep repeating it. But each time you swap out one little thing, the subject. Now, it might feel a bit basic, maybe even mindless at first, but trust me, something absolutely crucial is happening under the surface.
So look at this. This is the whole process in action. You say, I have been working. Easy enough. But then the next one is she, and your brain is forced to just hit pause for a millisecond. It has to stop and go, whoa, wait, it's not have anymore. For she, it has to be has. That tiny little forced adjustment, that is where all the magic happens.
And there's actually a name for this process. It's called knowledge consolidation. Because by repeating and adapting like that, you're not just memorizing, you're actively solidifying that knowledge. You are literally burning that neural pathway into your long-term memory. You're making the rule an instinct, not just a fact you have to look up.
And the results? They're immediate. You can feel it. Just like one student said, right after doing these simple drills, I feel that I understand it much better now. It's not some abstract theory. This method gives you a real, tangible feeling of, oh, okay, I get it now. It just clicks. Now, this isn't just about one teacher's classroom idea. This whole shift back to basics is actually happening on a huge scale, and it was all triggered by the pretty shocking results of a huge, nationwide educational experiment. This timeline really tells the story. You see, about a decade ago, Sweden, a country that's always been seen as a global leader in education, they went all in on digital, 100% digital in schools. They completely embraced tablets and screens, convinced it was the future. But what happened next really shocked everyone.
And here's that same tech-loving teacher's blunt summary of what happened. It is a stark and startling conclusion. The idea that replacing all the traditional tools with digital ones didn't just fail to deliver on its promise, it actually caused harm. And the data absolutely backed this up. Studies started showing this widespread cognitive decline. Students were suddenly struggling with fundamental skills, reading ability, writing skills, even just being able to express their own thoughts clearly. The whole digital revolution had completely backfired.
So, how does this all tie back to learning a language? Well, the goal of this consolidation of all this practice isn't just about passing a test. It's to build a bridge from knowing a rule to actually using it in a real human conversation. Because let's be honest, fluency isn't about being able to recite grammar tables from memory. It's about being in the heat of a moment, in a real conversation, and having a complex sentence just come out, naturally and emotionally without you even having to think about it. This is a perfect example. Imagine someone in the car says to you, "You haven't been driving well." Your instinctive, maybe slightly defensive reply might be, "Haven't I been driving well?" Now think about that for a second. You just used a complex negative interrogative form. Not because you diagrammed the sentence, but because you felt it. It was an emotional reaction. And that is the ultimate payoff. That's the whole point. These old school drills, they build a foundation that's so strong, the rules become reflexes. You finally stop translating in your head and you just start communicating. You build that bridge from academic knowledge to genuine fluency.
Okay, so we've seen the why and we've seen the how. Now, let's get to the final takeaway. and it comes with a simple challenge that puts this entire theory to the test.
So let's go back to our teacher. Remember, this is a man who loves tech. For him to come out and admit that he, personally, went back to using notebooks and pens just to prepare his own ideas, well, that's a really powerful testament to how effective this is.
So here is his challenge to you, and it's so simple. The next time you're studying something on a screen, just stop. Take out an actual piece of paper and a pen and physically write out the information. Then, go back to the screen and see what you actually remember. The teacher promises that the speed and the accuracy of your recall after writing it down will be, in his words, scary. And there's a reason for that. See, the physical act of writing engages your brain in a much deeper way than typing. That feeling of pen on paper, the unique way your hand moves for each letter, it creates this feedback loop that activates way more neural pathways, embedding the information much more securely in your memory.
And that's really the question we're left with. In our big rush to embrace every new piece of technology, have we maybe accidentally discarded a tool that's fundamentally more aligned with how our brains are actually wired to learn? Maybe the most futuristic learning tool you have has been sitting on your desk all along.